What's up, guys? This is Isaiah from Hot Tag Wrestling, and today I'm coming at you with a little bit of a unique video in honor of CM Punk's singles return to WWE at this year's SummerSlam. I have gone through CM Punk's catalog of work from the past 25 plus years, and I have compiled every single must-see CM Punk match. Now, what this means is I have gone through IWA Mid-South, Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW, and compiled every match that a new fan of CM Punk would really need to go and watch to fully understand what kind of wrestler he is. In order to do this, I watched about 130 CM Punk matches, including all of his majorly acclaimed matches from the independent scene, every single WWE pay-per-view match he ever had, and every single match he ever had in AEW TV and pay-per-view. In this list, I'm not going to be highlighting his big career moments just for the sake that they were big moments. I'm only highlighting matches that meet a certain quality standard, matches that I would consider great matches. So some things that you would expect to be on here that are big highlights in his career did fall a little bit short. There's no Chris Hero matches from when he was on the independent scene. His match against The Undertaker from WrestleMania 29 is not on this list, and names like Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio also do not appear on this list. We're going to go through the matches chronologically, meaning we're starting at the oldest and going to the newest. They are not ranked based on their quality. It is just when they happen. So, if you are a fan of CM Punk from AEW, but you're not really sure what his work was like before he left WWE in 2013, you can watch the first half of this video and get an idea of all the matches that you should go back and watch. Let's get into it. If you like this video, please leave a comment. Please consider subscribing to the channel. It very much helps new channels like me get started. And leave a comment down below whether you agree or disagree with my choices for this list. With that said, let's get into it. Number 27, CM Punk versus AJ Styles, Ring of Honor at Our Best, 2004. So CM Punk had several matches with AJ Styles when he was on the Indies, both in Ring of Honor and IWA Mid-South, and I feel that this is hands down the best bout that they had together for a couple reasons. Most of the time that they wrestled in Ring of Honor, it was over the pure title, and I feel like a lot of times the pure title can be a hindrance on wrestlers because it adds these extra hoops that they have to jump through to create a good match. And Punk and Styles actually wrestled in the finals for the inaugural Pure Championship, which was won by Styles, and this match is a rematch off of that. There's a few things that I feel make this match better and make this match worth seeing. The inclusion of Ricky Steamboat as the special guest referee and the interactions he has with an at-the-time heel CM Punk are fantastic. And the two get about 20 minutes to really craft a great match, and they don't let the rules of the pure title be a hindrance to them. They just go out and really have a match that you would expect CM Punk and AJ Styles to have. They incorporate all of their best arsenal in this match and really are able to put together a dynamic and fun match. It doesn't reach the level of an all-timer 5-star match, but for what it is, it's very fun and definitely worth checking out. Number 26, the Second City Saints, CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus the Briscoes at Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, 2004. How do you make a great tag team match between CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus the Briscoe brothers? Give them 35 minutes, put it in the main event of a pay-per-view, make it for the tag titles, and make it 2 out of 3 falls. This match is absolutely fantastic, and it really keeps getting better and building when you don't think it can. It's really a great display of a difference of styles, technical wrestling from the Second City Saints and brawling from the Briscoes, and how those two things can coalesce in a tag team match. And it's really an exhibition of how to do fundamental tag team wrestling in an entertaining way. Because a lot of times when you do the extended heat sequences and the cutoff spots, it can become a little tedious and boring, but they format it in such a way as to hold you on the edge of your seat for the entirety of the match. It's an absolutely phenomenal tag team match and one of the best 2 out of 3 falls matches I've ever seen. Number 25, CM Punk versus Austin Aries at the IWA Mid-South Ted Petty Invitational 2004. This one sort of feels like lazy analysis on my part because really all I have to say about this match is they took 2 of the best wrestlers on the independent scene at the time, put them in a match together, gave them 20 minutes, and said, go out and have the best match on the card. And they did. In this match, which is the quarterfinal matches in the Ted Petty tournament, these 2 wrestlers in what I believe is their first encounter, or one of their first encounters together, really just form a great match and sort of the traditional great main event match where you have technical wrestling leading into the more grappling style and then leading to the big bombs at the end with their signatures and finishes coming out. Really, if you're a fan of CM Punk and Austin Aries, it is an absolutely must-see match. Not the best match they've ever had, because we will talk about that in a little bit, but still a phenomenal match. Number 24, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe at Ring of Honor, Joe vs. Punk 2, 2004. Punk vs. Joe 2 is easily the most highly acclaimed match of CM Punk's career prior to going into WWE, and it's with good reason, because this match is absolutely a triumph in storytelling. It does something that's very hard to do in pro wrestling, which is continuously build the stakes and the drama of the action over a long period of time. This is a 60-minute match, and throughout the entire course of it, they continuously build and build and build to something better, to where the end is an absolute fever pitch. I've seen 10 or 15-minute matches not be able to strike that balance as well as they did in this match, and it really shows. This match has a big fight feel. The fans are absolutely rabid for it. They know they're going to get an awesome match, and they are a white-hot crowd, and CM Punk and Joe both show up to deliver. Now, I don't think it's a 5-star match like a lot of people online say. I think the chain wrestling in the beginning can be a little bit tedious and goes on for a little bit too long. However, really this is a triumph in storytelling, especially on the independent scene when matches like this didn't really happen that often. The big storytelling matches that get everyone in the wrestling industry talking, even if you're not a fan of independent wrestling. This is an absolutely phenomenal match, and it is a little bit of a time commitment to watch because it is an hour long, but if you are fans of CM Punk and Samoa Joe, absolutely must-watch match. Number 23, CM Punk vs. Samoa Joe, Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza 2004. Even though this match has received less acclaim than Joe vs. Punk 2, I personally feel that this is a better match because everything I didn't like about Joe vs. Punk 2 is cut out of this match. The rest hold chain wrestling beginnings of Joe versus Punk 1 and 2 are gone from this match. They start out hot and heavy, really going for each other, an aggressive style of wrestling right from the beginning, and they're able to hold that style throughout the entirety of the match. In this match, it really feels like they were less so going for a match that would sort of set records by going an hour and be this phenomenal achievement in pro wrestling, and more they were just focusing on having a great wrestling match. And it more aligns with the standard main event independent scene match that you see a lot of times at these Ring of Honor shows, and I personally think it's better off for it. Number 22, CM Punk vs. Austin Aries, Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, 2005. This may be a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I personally feel this is CM Punk's best singles match in Ring of Honor. Every Ring of Honor fan knew that CM Punk had signed with WWE and he was leaving Ring of Honor, and they believed this to be his last match, his big send-off in a big main event match facing Austin Aries, the Ring of Honor champion, and no one expected him to win. So these two go out and they have a great match, and they, similarly to Punk vs. Joe 3, they skip a lot of the fancy chain wrestling at the beginning and just go into having a great match. And at the end, when CM Punk does win, it's really a genuine pop from this crowd, because this crowd was so behind CM Punk for the entirety of this match. Not just because Austin Aries was a great dickhead heel at the top of the division at the time, but also because Punk was this babyface riding off into the sunset on the next step of his career. So when he won, the place absolutely exploded, and they were very happy to see Punk win. And afterwards, when he cut a promo on them, turning heel and telling them that he was the devil, it was an absolutely phenomenal piece of business. I think the crowd, the match, the storytelling, everything in this match combines to make a phenomenal piece of art and is the best thing that CM Punk did on the independent scene prior to going to WWE. Number 21, CM Punk versus Delirious, IWA Mid-South, No Blood, No Guts, No Glory, 2005. I feel like people are going to be upset that this one made it on the list, because we just went from talking about Joe versus Punk and Joe versus Aries and all of these very serious, very complicated wrestling matches, and we go to what is ostensibly a comedy match, CM Punk versus Delirious, going once again an hour when they had absolutely no reason to go that long, and it is just hilarious spot after hilarious spot after hilarious spot. And really, there's not a lot of pomp and circumstance to it. It's not like there's all of these different chaotic things happening to create a funny match. It's more just these guys are two huge personalities, and putting them in the ring together and seeing them build and work off of each other, and also work with Bryce Remsburg, the referee, to just make the fans in attendance laugh over and over again. It's just a fun match that you never get tired of watching. I've seen Punk have these technical wrestling classics with Chris Hero and IWA Mid-South that go an hour, 90 minutes, and I've been bored to tears watching those. And in this match where CM Punk puts on a Delirious mask and teams with Delirious against the Golden Vampire, in the middle of the match, I just had a phenomenal time. And I think if you go find this match and watch it, you'll also have a phenomenal time watching it. Number 20, CM Punk versus Roderick Strong, Ring of Honor, Escape from New York, 2005. After beating Austin Aries for the title, Punk had a few notable single title matches in Ring of Honor in the month leading up to his departure. He faced people like Christopher Daniels and Jay Lethal and James Gibson and Roderick Strong in this match, which I feel is the best of all of his singles title defenses in Ring of Honor. The reason this match stands up above the others is because it's compact. It's about 20 minutes long. There's solid action throughout, but really it's character driven. You get to see CM Punk flexing his muscles in this new character role, the biggest heel role he would have prior to going to WWE, and how that opposes this plucky underdog babyface spirit that Roderick Strong has at this point in his career, basically the infancy of his pro wrestling career. And it's sort of fascinating to watch how Punk not only interacts with Strong, but also the audience and the other wrestlers watching in the balcony, like Samoa Joe and James Gibson. And it's just really fun. It's rich with character atmosphere, layered on top of a really, really great match. I think it's probably the best CM Punk heel match prior to his time in the Straight Edge Society in 2010. Number 19, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe versus James Gibson versus Christopher Daniels in a 4-way eliminator match, Ring of Honor Redemption, 2005. This may be, without hyperbole, the greatest Fatal 4-Way I've ever seen in wrestling, because there's so many different dynamics going into this match. Punk had very long matches with everyone involved here. He went 40 minutes when he beat James Gibson for the title. He had a 60-minute draw with Christopher Daniels, and of course 2 previous 60-minute draws with Samoa Joe. So the idea that this was the last title match CM Punk was going to have in Ring of Honor, and if they couldn't beat him within 60 minutes, he was taking the title to WWE. And it's not just a matter of pinning CM Punk and you win the match. You have to eliminate all 3 of your opponents. So even if Punk is eliminated and nobody else wins the match, it goes to a time limit draw, he could theoretically still leave with the championship. There's so many different storyline directions this could take place, and it's such an opportunity to really keep fans guessing the entire time. And not only that, the action throughout this match is great. All 3 of the other men teaming up at the beginning to go against CM Punk because they hate him so much and what he's trying to do to Ring of Honor, before that eventually imploding on them. And the final stretch is absolutely amazing. I don't want to give any spoilers in case you haven't seen this match, but the last 2 entrants in here are absolutely phenomenal. The crowd is crazy in support for anyone not named CM Punk, especially the final participant in this match, who eventually goes on to win and defeat Punk to become the new Ring of Honor champion. Number 18, CM Punk versus Colt Cabana, Ring of Honor, Punk, the final chapter, 2005. Normally when it comes to pro wrestling, and I guess just life in general, I'm a very cynical person. I don't get emotional about things a lot, but this match really brought the emotion to me. It's Punk's last match in Ring of Honor, and when he comes out of the curtain and he is already bawling his eyes out, drenched in tears, and the crowd are so in love with him, even though the previous night they were so against him, it's really a beautiful moment that you don't get a lot in pro wrestling. And then he goes on to wrestle Colt Cabana, someone who he has been the best of friends with and the worst of enemies with in storyline, in Ring of Honor, and eventually in real life. It just creates such an amazing dynamic for a wrestling match. And on top of that, it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. And it really is a great match. They go out there and they're not worried about being super serious and telling the most intense, aggressive story. They go out there and they just have a lot of fun. And they really work with the crowd to incorporate the emotion that they are giving them and the emotion that Punk is feeling and the moment into the match. And if nothing else, going out there to see the crowd's reception for Punk in his final match makes this absolutely a must-see match. Number 17, CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, Night of Champions, 2009. So before I talk about the actual match, I want to address that there is about a 4-year gap in between the match with Colt Cabana in Ring of Honor and this match with Jeff Hardy. And there's such a chasm in between those two, because when Punk first arrived to WWE, even though the fans were always aggressively super behind him, the booking never really was there, and he wasn't allowed to go out and have great main event matches until his program with Jeff Hardy in 2009. Now, I'm putting this match on the list and not their match from SummerSlam because I feel like this is a better match. It is a singles, one-on-one, no stipulation match, whereas their one at SummerSlam was a TLC match. And I feel like this is better for it. Getting to see CM Punk have his first really great main event match in WWE and going against Jeff Hardy, who at the time was the biggest babyface in the company, really created an awesome dynamic for this match. And they went out and they just had an absolutely great match. The action in it is really good, and it's just a breath of relief to see CM Punk finally fit into a role in WWE that utilizes the best of his abilities. Number 16, CM Punk versus John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. This is easily the most highly acclaimed and most coveted match in CM Punk's career, and with good reason too. I'm not going to talk about the action because I do think the match is a little bit overhyped. I don't think it's a 5-star match, but I can definitely see why people say that. The crowd in Chicago is absolutely insane for CM Punk, and really, this is the first time in Punk's time in WWE where he is treated like a main event concern. Which is sort of a weird thing to say because he's a 3-time World Heavyweight Champion going into this match, and he's had bouts against Mysterio and Undertaker and Batista and Hardy. He main evented SummerSlam in 2009, but really, he has not been taken seriously in booking, and he hasn't been made to look like a threat until this moment. And that idea didn't always hold steadfast, and he wasn't always booked perfectly. But this is the elevation of CM Punk in WWE. And it's the time when not only the booking starts to take him more seriously, but he himself starts to really present himself as the greatest wrestler and the most important wrestler in the company. And the match is really a piece of history as a result. Number 15, CM Punk versus John Cena, SummerSlam 2011. Here's a hot take for you. I think Punk versus Cena at SummerSlam is a better match than Punk versus Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. Which seems like a crazy thing to say, because this match at SummerSlam, Meltzer gave it like 3.5 stars. It has a dramatically lower rating on Cage Match than their match at Money in the Bank. But I think a lot of that comes from what happens after the match. And the after part of this match is sort of a wet fart on the rest of the match when Kevin Nash, for no reason, attacks CM Punk. Del Rio cashes in and takes the championship away from him. That really drags some things out of this match. But from an in-ring perspective, I think it is far superior to what we saw at Money in the Bank. At Money in the Bank, there was a lot of unevenness and a lot of messiness to their work, where some of the spots were a little bit sloppy and there were a few botches in there. But all of that is gone in this SummerSlam match. The two work so fluidly together to give you a absolutely phenomenal match that, yes, is let down by the booking afterwards, but prior to that, I think they were on level to have another 5-star match. Number 14, CM Punk versus John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio, Hell in a Cell 2011. If you were to look at this match on paper, you would probably see it as another early 2010s WWE booking blunder, because you have a triple threat match with CM Punk in it, and the majority of the action is dominated by John Cena and Alberto Del Rio, two wrestlers who aren't known for their in-ring work rate prowess. And not only that, CM Punk takes the fall in this match to have Del Rio retain the WWE Championship. Looking at that on paper, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. But really, all three guys in this match work together extremely well to create a fast-paced, highly violent match. And one thing that I appreciate about this match so much is they have the normal sort of bollock sports entertainment mid-2010s WWE booking in there, but it actually enhances this match, whereas in most cases it sort of diminishes it. At the end of this match, Cena gets locked out of the cage by Ricardo Rodriguez, of all people, which leaves Alberto Del Rio to sort of tee off on CM Punk, which leads to him getting the victory. And rather than it being a thing that takes the wind out of the match, it works to protect all three men involved, which is important because Del Rio's the champ. Punk is going to go on to Survivor Series and beat him, and it's 2011, so Super Cena's on a tear, so you got to keep him strong, of course. But really, I think that the action and the booking do well in this match to combine to make a really great WWE main event. Not quite on the level of some of the past matches we've been talking about, but really entertaining throughout. Number 13, CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio versus The Miz from TLC 2011. There is no bigger recipe for disaster for me personally than booking a triple threat plunderball in the main event of a pay-per-view and having two of the competitors being the most boring mid-card champions on the roster. Alberto Del Rio and The Miz. How could you possibly make that match good? Put CM Punk in it. It's really a tour de force, this match is, because when I saw that this match was the main event of TLC 2011, I thought it was going to be a stinker, because I thought Del Rio and Miz would team up to work over Punk for the majority of the match in sort of their boring, slow roll, get the heat from the crowd way, but that's really not what this match is. This match is, through and through, a spot fest. I'll say that up top. There's no real story throughout this match. They're not working a limb. There's no chain wrestling. It is just big moves throughout, a big spot fest, but it's very entertaining for being that. You shouldn't go into this match expecting to be wowed and expecting to see something that you've never seen before. Rather, you should temper those expectations and hope to see spots executed with perfect timing and with great sports entertainment violence and a match that is just pure fun throughout. Number 12, CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan from the January 30th Raw 2012. 2012 was the year when CM Punk held the WWE Championship for the entirety of the year, which would make you think that this is one of the greatest years of his career, but it's really not. He sort of had a middling feud with Chris Jericho around WrestleMania time, and towards the end of the year moved into a feud with John Cena and Ryback. And none of it really worked out. The only good thing about this year for CM Punk, and when I say good, it is very good, is his feud with Daniel Bryan. And this match from Raw was a champion versus champion match, Punk being the WWE champion, Daniel Bryan being the World Heavyweight Champion, and it was no real story, no heel-face dynamic. It was just them going out and having a great match. The two greatest wrestlers on the roster, maybe at the time the two greatest wrestlers on the planet, going out and having an absolutely phenomenal TV match. And it is a TV match, so it does get some points dropped for that. They have to sort of work around that format and in between commercial breaks. But there's no better two people to do it than these two guys, and they have an absolutely great match. Number 11, CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit 2012. A lot of people would say the best Punk versus Bryan match from WWE is their match from Money in the Bank 2012, but I really think that match is let down by some of the sports entertainment nonsense involving the love triangle with AJ Lee. That sort of drags the match down. For me personally, I don't love that kind of sports entertainment stuff. I know some people do, but the romance line getting in the way of the two best wrestlers on the roster having a great match is really a letdown for me. But none of that is present in their match at Over the Limit. They go out and they have an absolutely amazing match. I personally feel that this is CM Punk's best match in WWE. I think it's better than anything he did with Jeff Hardy and definitely better than anything he did with John Cena. It's absolutely phenomenal. It is a great, near-perfect pro wrestling match. This would be in place at any show in Japan, AEW, Ring of Honor, those places where, work rate is really the most coveted thing. This match would fit right in among the best that any of those companies have to offer. It really is the best possible match these guys could have had in WWE, and it is fantastic to watch. And not only that, I'm almost grateful to it for that reason, because nothing got in the way of this match. They didn't have run-ins or a screwy finish or anything like that. They just had an amazing professional wrestling match. Number 10, CM Punk versus John Cena from the February 25th Raw 2013. In my opinion, this Raw match is sort of like their SummerSlam 2011 match, light. Because it is a TV match, so they do have to alter their styles for that a bit. But really, they're able to bring the same energy and the same high-octane action to this match that they had in their previous encounters in 2011. And they even raised the stakes for it a little bit more because there is real-world implications for this. Who is going to main event WrestleMania against The Rock for the WWE Championship? And everyone wanted it to be Punk. And just watching this match and watching him try his hardest to get into that position and ultimately failing, it's sort of really a roller coaster of emotions. And it's sort of a famous match because it's considered one of the greatest matches in the history of Raw, and it's the match where CM Punk hits a pile driver on John Cena, and John Cena hits absolutely one of the worst Hurricane Ranas you'll ever see in your entire life on Punk. It's sort of just a special match, and watching these two go out and have a match that no one else on the roster could, with the emotion and the energy that they did, it's really something special to watch. And even though the ending decision is a little bit heartbreaking and is what would eventually lead to Punk leaving the company, it's still a great match. Number 9, CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2013. While I do believe that Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit is the best CM Punk match in WWE, this is my favorite. This match is awesome. It has so much character in it. It has so much emotion in it because you're seeing CM Punk, a guy who the fans love and who the fans are really rallying behind because he's not having the greatest year in terms of booking, going up against this seemingly impossible barrier of Brock Lesnar, who beat John Cena's ass last year, who broke Triple H's arm, this sort of world beater, and now Punk, this skinny fat ass, has to go up against him and try to beat him. And they just strike the perfect dynamic. Brock Lesnar doesn't dominate the entire match. It really is more of a back and forth than you would anticipate. And the inclusion of the no DQ stipulation really adds to it, because it's not like they do a bunch of table shots, kendo sticks, fire hydrants, stuff like that. They pretty much use a steel chair in the match, but they use it so effectively and they incorporate it into an absolutely amazing, really dramatic match. I can't really do this match justice by just talking about it on camera. I think you have to go load up Peacock, load up the network wherever you are in the world, and just watch this match. And if you've already seen it, rewatch it, because it's such an emotional roller coaster and it is so awesome to see CM Punk going up against these insurmountable odds and Brock Lesnar just being this unbeatable badass. It's such an amazing dynamic and such an amazing match. Number 8, CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston from Full Gear 2021. This is CM Punk's first match on the list from AEW, and this match was such a relief because before this match, it really looked like we were going to have 3-star Punk in AEW, where he just had a bunch of mid-matches, and though he could have some great storylines, the action would never really get there. But this match dispelled all of those fears. This match is absolutely great. It's a pretty short match. It's two guys who really, over the course of the storyline and the action in this match, make you believe that they hate each other. And it's a very violent match. And it's sort of the match that CM Punk used to announce what kind of wrestler he was going to be in AEW, moving away from the WWE style he was known for so long and really looking like a badass in this match. Number 7, CM Punk versus MJF from the February 2nd edition of Dynamite 2022. The greatest feud that CM Punk has ever had in his career, and only behind Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page, the greatest feud in the history of AEW. CM Punk versus MJF was absolutely amazing, and this is the first of two matches in their duology. This match on Dynamite was really, really great. It's a long match. It's 40 to 45 minutes in Chicago, and they go back and forth and not only have a violent match where they tell a very intricate story, but also a really fun match where both characters, MJF being the shit-eating, always trying to cheat heel, and Punk being the resilient babyface who's also kind of a badass, they really do a fantastic job expressing both of those characters throughout the course of this match. And this is just a standard one-on-one match, and I feel it's better than the stipulation match, which we're going to talk about in a second, because it really is the first match in AEW where you got to see the old CM Punk and what you loved about watching CM Punk in Ring of Honor and WWE. Number 6, CM Punk versus MJF from Revolution 2022. I'm not normally a big fan of dog collar or strap matches just because I feel like rather than enhancing the violence, it's more of a hindrance on the competitors. But that is very much not the case for this match. This match, though not a technical masterpiece, is the blow-off to one of the hottest feuds in the history of AEW, and it's driven by pure emotion. And everything from CM Punk entering to his old Ring of Honor theme song to him being cut open early, MJF taking a nasty bump off the GTS onto a bed of thumbtacks, or Wardlow turning on MJF and giving Punk the diamond ring. Everything in this match really serves the storyline that they had built prior to this. So where the previous match that we talked about from Dynamite was those two going out there and having the classic great match, this is more a piece of storytelling, and that's what makes it great. Number 5, CM Punk and FTR versus Bullet Club Gold from the June 24th edition of Collision 2023. Collision Punk was the best version of Punk in AEW. The show made for him where every week he went out in the main event and had a 20 to 30 minute banger match. And this was the first example of that, in my opinion. Not the first match he was in, but the first great main event match he was in. CM Punk and FTR teaming up was really a great combination because it allowed CM Punk to sort of hide some of his shortcomings that he was having in this latter part of his career, where he couldn't really go as long or as hard as he used to. So incorporating him with FTR was really a great booking idea. And then putting them in the ring with Jay White and two people who you wouldn't normally associate with great wrestling in the Ass Boys, it really was just a great combination. And they didn't have a 5-star match. They didn't have the best match of the year or the best match in Collision history. They had a really fun TV main event match. And even with commercial breaks, the in-between parts where they sort of slow down the wrestling because the cameras aren't on, they still keep up the energy and continue to have a great match nonstop for the 25-30 minutes that this match lasts. Number 4, CM Punk vs. Samoa Joe from the July 8th edition of Collision 2023. Reigniting the CM Punk vs. Samoa Joe feud, this time with a spot in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament on the line. These two go out and they have a very different match from the kind of matches they had in Ring of Honor. They're both obviously a lot older and they can't have the 60-minute classics that they had when they were wrestling in Ring of Honor. So they are forced to just have a great match instead. They go out and they just put on this 20-minute banger where really you can tell that they are so familiar with each other by this point in their careers, and they look so comfortable out there, and they're able to go out there and really have fun and interact with the crowd in ways that you don't get from most TV matches, because this isn't a normal TV match. This is CM Punk versus Samoa Joe 20-ish years after their first encounter, and the fans really treat it with the respect it deserves. So this feels like a very big deal. Number 3, CM Punk versus Ricky Starks from the August 5th edition of Collision 2023. I wasn't a huge fan of the first match that CM Punk and Ricky Starks had, but I feel this match, the sequel, really leveled up. In the first match, they had a lot of messy sequences and sort of a lot of botches for two guys at this level, but they cleaned all that up in this second match and really just had a fantastic match. And not only that, this is the kind of match that you would be expecting someone like CM Punk at that point in their career to be having, where they can go and collect wins, but eventually they have to put a win over on a younger talent in circumstances that matter, in this case the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And coming out of this, Ricky Starks really looked like a star, which was something he had been missing for a long time. Some guy who obviously had all the talent in the world, but just wasn't given that major win or that major storyline to push him forward. He got it here. And even though that was fumbled going down the line, at the time, in the course of this match, it was a star-making performance. Number 2, CM Punk and FTR versus the House of Black from the August 12th edition of Collision 2023. This is really a match where a lot of the excitement and fun comes from watching CM Punk work with guys who he never has before, but who the fans are very excited to see him work with. So seeing him in there with Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, and seeing them all interact in unique and really fun ways, and fun is a weird way to describe it, considering the two ultra-violent and ultra-serious teams that we have on either side, but seeing them interact in fun ways, it just sort of makes you happy to be a pro wrestling fan. And it's not a phenomenal match, it's a great match, it's a great TV main event, but it's more fun than anything, and it's really good vibes in a time when CM Punk's career did not have a lot of good vibes. And finally, number 1, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe from AEW All In London 2023. The last match on our list and the last CM Punk match in AEW. And what I feel, apart from the MJF matches, is his best work in AEW. CM Punk's final, for now, match against Samoa Joe. It's really a great match, helped a lot by the all-in crowd. This is the first match on the card, and this London crowd really shitting on CM Punk in a lot of different parts of this match is really fun, and it takes the standard greatness of CM Punk versus Samoa Joe and adds these new levels of fun onto it by them interacting with the crowd. And by this point, CM Punk just got into a fight backstage. He doesn't give a fuck what he's doing out there. He's just going out there to have fun, to pop himself, to pop the boys, and to pop the crowd, really. And even though there are messy circumstances surrounding this match, it's a lot of fun to watch. And the crowd and the atmosphere of this pay-per-view make this match. And that's my list. What did you guys think? Did you disagree with some of the choices I had in this video? Or do you think that I left a match out that deserves to be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. And in the future, I'm going to be having some more CM Punk videos come out in the next couple months, but I'm also going to be expanding to looking at the G1 Climax when it finishes up at the end of August, as well as a review of the AEW pay-per-view at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please subscribe for more content coming in the future. It really helps a new channel like myself to grow, and I appreciate all the support. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time.